The morning in Arizona began with the same vivid blue sky that had graced the desert for centuries. The sunlight spilled generously over Camelback Mountain, casting a warm, golden hue across the neat rows of mansions nestled at its base. In D.C. Ranch, one of Scottsdale's most affluent neighborhoods, luxury vehicles gleamed in driveways, sprinklers whispered across manicured lawns, and the air carried a faint scent of desert blooms and success. Inside one of those pristine condominiums, Jennifer Wilson's morning had begun hours earlier. Her alarm rang at precisely 5:30 a.m., and, as always, she didn't hit snooze. By 6, she was on her usual jogging route, passing glass-walled homes, palm-lined streets, and the faint shimmer of distant mountains. When she returned, the city was just waking. After a refreshing shower, she stood before the mirror, fastening her signature pearl necklace. The woman who gazed back at her looked composed and powerful, a 5 feet 9 inches frame, tailored pantsuit, and the quiet grace of someone who had earned her position through sheer determination. Jennifer was a senior analyst at Morgan Stanley, one of the youngest in her division, and she carried herself like it. Before leaving for work, she sat at her sleek white desk, opened her MacBook, and logged into her online banking portal. It was time for the first ritual of every month, the support transfers. Her mother, Patricia, always received hers first. Then came Rachel, her younger sister. Jennifer's fingers hovered over the trackpad for a moment. She exhaled slowly, her eyes hardening as old memories flickered. Just as she reached for the transfer button, her phone rang. "Jenny," came her mother's perfectly composed voice, smooth, polite, and controlling all at once. "We need to talk about Rachel's birthday party." Jennifer closed her eyes briefly. "What about it?" "I want to make it extra special this year," Patricia said, her tone bright and performative. "We'll book the Phoenician's Grand Ballroom. It's prestigious, elegant, exactly what Rachel deserves. You'll handle the arrangements, won't you?" "The ballroom?" Jennifer repeated, incredulous. "That'll cost more than double the usual." Patricia chuckled lightly, dismissing her concern. "Oh, but it's worth it. Rachel's following has surpassed 200,000 now, and her real estate numbers are rising fast. This is her moment to shine." After hanging up, Jennifer stayed silent for several seconds, the soft hum of her apartment filling the air. She unlocked her phone and opened Instagram. The first post that greeted her was Rachel, posing in front of a brand new Porsche, her smile radiant, the caption reading, "Another dream accomplished #boss babe #luxury life #grind never stops." The comments overflowed with admiration. "Your goals. Wish I could be like you. Living the dream." Jennifer's expression didn't change. She clicked on her own tagged photos. Most were corporate functions, charity events, investment panels, never personal moments. Almost none with her mother or Rachel. Then she crossed to her closet and pulled out an old photo album. It was thick with dust. She sat down on the bed and began flipping through the pages. 5th birthday, 10th, 16th. Each one stung a little more. There wasn't a single picture of her birthday. The albums were filled with Rachel's glittering parties, designer dresses, gifts piled high. Her sister's laughter filled every frame, surrounded by guests, balloons, and cameras. Meanwhile, her own childhood had been an afterthought, a forgotten corner in a family obsessed with appearances. Jennifer quietly closed the album and returned it to the shelf. She walked toward the window, looking out at the city that glittered in the desert light. The skyline shimmered with the promise of ambition and wealth, the very things her family worshipped. She touched her pearl necklace and made a silent vow. It was time to stop being the quiet provider. It was time for the truth to surface. From her desk drawer, she pulled out a thick manila folder. Embossed on the cover were the words, "Wilson Family Trust, Termination Notice." The paper caught the morning sunlight, gleaming like a blade. The party. The Phoenician Hotel's grand ballroom radiated elegance that evening. Crystal chandeliers spilled golden light over hundreds of guests. Through the tall windows, the last sliver of Arizona's sunset painted the horizon in scarlet and gold. A live jazz band, Desert Swing, tuned their instruments softly, filling the air with an ambient rhythm. Waiters in crisp uniforms moved gracefully between tables, balancing trays of champagne and caviar canapes. Jennifer stood in a corner, surveying the scene with a calm, Unreadable expression. The champagne tower glittered. The projection screen was ready, and her USB drive, containing everything, was safely in her handbag. Ms. Wilson, the projector and screen are all set, the coordinator whispered. Jennifer nodded. Her pulse didn't quicken. She had rehearsed this moment 100 times. By 6:00 p.m., guests began arriving: real estate magnates, social media influencers, charity board members, and Scottsdale's upper crust. The hum of small talk filled the air. Patricia appeared first, radiant in a Chanel tweed jacket, her neck adorned with diamonds. "Jennifer, you look lovely tonight," she said, smiling tightly. "Thank you, Mom," Jennifer replied evenly. At 7 p.m. sharp, the announcement echoed. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Rachel Wilson." The spotlight hit the doorway, and Rachel entered, dazzling in a crimson Oscar de la Renta gown, her every move a curated performance. In her right hand, she clutched an Hermes bag. In her left, the latest iPhone ready for photos. Guests clapped and cheered. Patricia took the microphone, beaming. "My daughter Rachel, a rising star in the real estate world, an inspiration to young women everywhere, and, of course, my pride and joy." The applause swelled. Rachel smiled, glowing in attention, snapping selfies mid-speech. Jennifer stood at the back of the stage, watching silently. "And now," the MC announced, "let's begin the present segment." Luxury bags, diamond bracelets, and brand name boxes piled high. Each new gift was immediately photographed and uploaded to Rachel's Instagram story. Then, amid the laughter and camera flashes, Jennifer stepped forward. The microphone feedback squealed slightly as she took it. "Everyone," she began, her tone calm, "I, too, have a present." The hall quieted. "Rachel, Mom," she said, her voice steady but cold, "let's take a look back at everything I've given you over these past 30 years. The lights dimmed. The projector flickered to life. The first slide appeared, a 5-year-old Jennifer sitting alone in a dark living room, a single cupcake on the table. Next to it, bank records showing early support payments. Then came the 10th birthday, showing Rachel blowing out candles surrounded by friends, while Jennifer studied alone in a library. 16th birthday, Rachel getting her first designer bag. Next to that, Jennifer's pay stub from a cafe job. The whispers began. Patricia's painted smile faded. Rachel's expression froze, her eyes wide. One by one, the slides revealed college tuition bills, luxury car leases, emergency fund transfers. The final number flashed on the screen: $10 million, total financial support. A stunned silence swallowed the room. Even the jazz band stopped playing. Jennifer raised her champagne glass. "This," she said softly, "is my final present." The change in Rachel's Instagram posts hadn't gone unnoticed. At first, it was just a designer bag here, a luxury car there, but soon, her feed was a catalog of indulgence, AES diamond jewelry, Chanel handbags, Louis Vuitton luggage, each post shimmering with excess. Jennifer had traced every purchase and every transaction, her analytical mind turning emotion into data. The total, $680,000 in luxury goods. Each record appeared on the massive LED screen behind her like a hammer striking metal, cold, sharp, undeniable. Gasps rippled through the ballroom. The audience, Scottsdale's elite, shifted uncomfortably, murmuring to one another. Rachel, standing near the table, turned pale as the color drained from her face. "Stop, please stop," she screamed, collapsing to her knees. Her perfectly curled hair fell into disarray, mascara streaking her cheeks. Jennifer didn't move. Her voice was calm, too calm. "Not yet, Rachel." Her words carried through the grand room like the slow toll of a bell. "Your real estate deals, did you really think they were based on your own abilities? You used my client list without permission. You leveraged my reputation, my credibility." "Be quiet." Patricia suddenly rose, reaching toward her daughter. The Cartier bracelet on her wrist caught the light, the very one Jennifer had given her last Christmas. The room noticed. Jennifer's eyes flicked toward the bracelet, her expression unreadable. "Shall I explain?" she said softly. How much being the sister of a Morgan and Stanley senior analyst helped your career? A new slide appeared, line after line of confidential data, client names, transaction amounts, commission breakdowns, then a pie chart showing the flow of money, the majority funneled to Patricia's company under the label of referral fees. The air turned heavy. Conversations fell silent. Some guests stepped back as though physical distance could separate them from the scandal unfolding. The representatives from the Arizona Real Estate Association exchanged grave looks. One muttered under his breath, "This could ruin them." Jennifer's gaze didn't waver. She turned a page on her tablet and raised her eyes to her mother. "And Mom," she said evenly, "shall we discuss your company's fraudulent accounting?" The room froze again. Patricia's confident expression faltered. Her lips trembled. You didn't." "I'm an analyst, Mom," Jennifer replied, her tone suddenly sharp. "Reading numbers is my job. Every unnatural movement in your statements, I saw it. Every irregular transfer, I traced it. But I stayed silent. Do you know why?" No one dared to speak. Even the jazz band, Desert Swing, stood frozen mid-performance, instruments limp at their sides. Jennifer's voice softened, trembling slightly. "Because we're family." For the first time, emotion cracked her composure. Rachel's crying stopped. Patricia blinked rapidly, her mascara smudging at the edges. "But I'm ending it now," Jennifer said. She reached into her briefcase and pulled out a final document, thick, bound, stamped with gold lettering. Under the spotlight, the title gleamed, Wilson Family Trust Termination Notice. "This," she said, "is my final gift, effective immediately. All financial support ends. My legal team has already notified every relevant institution." "You're abandoning us?" Patricia's voice broke. Jennifer's laugh was quiet and heartbreaking. "Abandoning? That's rich. Did you ever remember my birthday, even once?" No one breathed. Even the sound of the chandelier's faint vibration felt deafening. Jennifer's voice lowered, heavy with years of buried pain. "Every year, I celebrated your birthdays, Mother's Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of them. Perfect gifts, perfect dinners, perfect smiles. And what did I get? On my 5th birthday, you were closing a real estate deal. On my 10th, you were applauding Rachel's ballet recital. On my 16th, I was working at a cafe, saving for tuition, while Rachel got a new designer bag." Each sentence landed like a blade. Patricia trembled, speechless. "Mr. Martinez," Jennifer called to a gray-haired lawyer standing discreetly at the back. "Please explain the documents." Mr. Martinez stepped forward, his tone measured. "By this notice, all financial assistance from Ms. Jennifer Wilson to Mrs. Patricia Wilson and Ms. Rachel Wilson is terminated effective immediately. This includes monthly transfers, credit card privileges, asset management advice, and any endorsements used in business dealings." A sharp ding echoed from Rachel's phone. She looked down, her lips parting. "The card, it's been suspended." Patricia scrambled for her own phone. Notifications from multiple banks flooded the screen, frozen accounts, suspended cards. "Yes," Jennifer said calmly, her expression unreadable. "Everything is over. Your illusion of wealth ends tonight." Gasps turned into whispers. Guests began to slip quietly toward the exit. Patricia's charity friends avoided her eyes, pretending to fix their shawls. Rachel's social media friends recorded the scene with shaky hands, already composing captions in their minds. Jennifer raised her champagne glass. Her voice was steady, cold, final. "This," she said, "is the surprise I chose." A pause. Then, softly, "Happy birthday, Rachel." By the next morning, Scottsdale was on fire. Local newspapers plastered the story across front pages. Wilson family empire crumbles amid fraud allegations. The stock of Patricia Wilson Associates plummeted 30% before trading was halted. Rachel's followers dropped overnight, from 20,000 to barely 5. The comments under her latest post were brutal. "Where's the money now? Guess karma wears Chanel too." Meanwhile, in Jennifer's office, quiet reigned. Sunlight filtered through the blinds, casting narrow lines across her desk. She typed steadily, her pearl necklace catching the light with every movement. A knock came at the door. "Ms. Wilson," her secretary said softly. A letter, from your mother. Jennifer froze for a moment, then nodded. The letterhead read the Phoenician Resort and Spa. Patricia's familiar handwriting trembled across the page. Dear Jennifer. What have I done? On your 5th birthday, I told myself I was working for the family's future. Lies. On your 10th, I chose Rachel's recital over your joy. On your 16th, I shopped for luxury while you worked for your dreams. Only now, stripped of everything, do I see what we became, parasites feeding on your love. I'm shutting down Patricia Wilson Associates. I've confessed to the fraudulent accounting and resigned from every position. I'm surrendering the condominium, the cars, the jewelry. This is the beginning of my atonement. With deep regret. Mom. Jennifer stared at the letter for a long moment, the words blurring as sunlight glinted against her tears. Your sister is here, the secretary said quietly. Jennifer exhaled. Send her in. Moments later, Rachel stepped into the room. She looked human. No designer brands, no diamond earrings, just a plain blouse and a canvas tote. Her face was bare of makeup. Sis, Rachel's voice cracked. I lost my job. My license might be revoked. Jennifer said nothing. I've lost everything, Rachel whispered. My followers, my sponsorships, my friends. I had no idea how empty I was until now. Jennifer turned toward the window. The Arizona sky was cloudless, mercilessly blue. You're still young, she said. You can rebuild. Rachel blinked back tears. How? Start with the truth, Jennifer replied. Apologize, to your clients, your followers, and to me. Rachel dropped to her knees. I'm sorry, Jennifer. I'm so sorry. Jennifer walked to her desk. Her hand brushed an old photo frame, a 5-year-old girl sitting beside a cake that no one came to share. She turned. I want us to go to family counseling. Rachel looked up, startled. I've been referred to Dr. Sarah Thompson. Jennifer continued. Thursdays, 5 p.m. If Mom agrees, all 3 of us will go. Later that night, Jennifer's phone buzzed with a message from Patricia. I would like to participate in the counseling. Months passed. The 3 women were seen not in luxury stores but at the Scottsdale Community Center, sitting side by side in a modest therapy room. Some days were hard. Old wounds reopened. But for the first time, they spoke honestly. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, Dr. Thompson told them one evening. It builds the foundation for a new one. Nearly a year later, spring sunlight washed over Paradise Valley. A new sign hung on a modest office door, Wilson Real Estate Consulting. Inside, Patricia guided a group of young agents. Her once dominant tone was gone, replaced by warmth. Don't sell dreams, she told them, sell trust. Her new book, Honest Business, Honest Life, rested on her desk, a far cry from her old lifestyle. Across town, Rachel sat in an HR office, flipping through training manuals. Good work, Miss Wilson, her manager said. Thank you. Rachel smiled, genuinely. At Morgan & Stanley, Jennifer finished her report, her pearl necklace glimmering faintly. Her secretary entered with a small bouquet. Happy birthday, Ms. Wilson. Jennifer smiled softly. Her phone vibrated. Happy birthday, dear Jennifer. We'll be waiting at Paradise Bakery at 7 p.m. Rachel will be there too. Love, Mom. Not a 5-star restaurant, not a private club. The very cafe where Jennifer once washed dishes after school. That evening, Patricia and Rachel waited at a small corner table. A homemade cake sat between them, uneven, imperfect, full of love. Open this, Rachel said, handing Jennifer a photo album titled Our Real Family Memories. Inside were photos from counseling, from volunteering, from sunsets at Camelback Mountain. On the last page, a blank space beside a photo from Jennifer's 5th birthday. Tonight's photo goes here, Patricia said softly. This time, we'll be in it with you. Tears welled in Jennifer's eyes. You finally remembered. We'll never forget again, Patricia whispered. The cafe door opened. Friends, colleagues, and Dr. Thompson entered, carrying gifts. Surprise, Rachel called out, laughing through her tears. Our turn to celebrate you. The birthday song began. Patricia wrapped her arms around her daughters. The candlelight flickered across their smiling faces. When Jennifer made her wish, she whispered it quietly. May our family stay real, always. The candles went out. Applause filled the cafe. Outside, the Arizona night shimmered under the desert stars, simple, peaceful, real. And in the reflection of the cafe window, 3 women smiled, not out of pride or pretense, but out of love that finally learned to be true.